So RBA player Jaylen Brown goes lunatic on LeBron James. He goes sicko mode. No Travis Scott song on LeBron James. Jaylen Brown goes Jalen Black on LeBron James. Straight Black Panther mode. Wakanda forever on LeBron James. Jaylen Brown states that LeBron James takes performance enhancement drugs allegedly, and he turns into the LaHawk James. The LaHawk James. No, not Lex Luger. But instead of LeBron James getting upset, raging, getting angry, and turning into this green monster, LeBron James turns into this big pink man with these big colossal muscles, wears a all pink dress with his pretty cute little pearls and his Birkin bag Le Man purse, skipping down the street singing, making my way downtown, walking fast and I'm homebound, doom-a-doom-doom-doom, I'm LeBron James, doom-a-doom-doom-doom, that's Diddy come stain. Looking high sedity and pretty for P. Diddy, heading to the Diddy freak-offs. Jaylen Brown exposes LeBron James and questions LeBron James's longevity. Is LeBron James on PED? Allegedly. Is LeBron James on steroids? Allegedly. But here's what Jaylen Brown had to say. This article is per MSN Sports, as the source came from Fadeaway World, and the headline reads, Jaylen Brown throws subtle PED allegation at LeBron James when discussing his dominance at age 40. Jaylen Brown says, quote, that man got superpowers, Brown said, to be able to be 6'9". I'm 240 pounds right now sitting here. LeBron gotta be, what, 270? I want to know if he got something else going on at 40. It don't even make sense. He goes on to say, quote, on top of that, the super speed, the super athleticism, he got supervision at the same time, Brown stated. He sees the game, super intelligent, a basketball savant, can read the floor and can be a coach on the floor all at the same time. Who has that? He says with a question mark, end quote. It says, this isn't the first time someone has wondered if James uses PEDs. No one in the history of the RBA has been able to dominate the way he has with this much wear and tear on the body. It baffles me about how LeBron James potentially being on PEDs and being on steroids allegedly isn't a major sports story that's surfacing all throughout social media and all throughout television currently. Any other player, this would be a red flag and would raise a lot of eyebrows considering how long LeBron James has been in the RBA. What should more so raise questions and should be suspicious to people is the fact that LeBron James is playing at a very high level, and LeBron James goes on record and states that he feels that he can play at a high level for another 5 or 6 years. That should be highly suspicious to the masses. This should be a major story. This should be headlines all through the shade room, all through social media. But with LeBron James having connections and being plugged in and having ties to the elites, he has the media in his back pocket to where they can sweep this stuff up under the rug. See, I'm not surprised at all that this is not major headlines. See, LeBron James' PR team has a way of spinning things so that this will never reach the shade room. And if it does reach the shade room, they'll spin it in such a way that it's in favor of LeBron James to make other people look crazy and make it seem like people are hating for questioning whether LeBron James is on performance enhancement drugs allegedly. But it's really a legit question that should be asked. How is it that you have a guy who entered the league at the age 17 years old, considering LeBron James' style of play, being a ball dominant player, pushing the ball in transition, playing at a very high speed up and down the floor, from 17 years old all the way till 40 years old. I don't care how many games LeBron James sat out. I don't care that LeBron James didn't play a full 82 games. None of that matters. LeBron James has the most minutes of any player in NBA history. They celebrate this like this is a great thing because LeBron James surpassed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and all these players for the most minutes. But it should be highly suspicious that you have a player who has been around this long still playing at a very high level. Although Jaylen Brown may have been complimenting LeBron James, but I also believe that Jaylen Brown is suspicious as well. That's Jaylen Brown's way of throwing out hints so that people can read in between the lines to say, hey, This man, he's a little heavier than me. He's probably an inch taller than me. But somehow LeBron James at the age 40, listen, even me at my young age, I'm speaking from Jaylen Brown perspective, I get tired. But here you have LeBron James. Take me to his dealer. I need to know who's LeBron James plug, who's LeBron James connect, because I'm worn out and tired after games. And this man at age 40 is still able to do it. And I'm seeing my older basketball peers retiring at the same age as LeBron James or even younger. They weren't able to sustain a long-lasting career no matter how much money that they put into their bodies. They could have spent $1 million or more. If you're a professional athlete and you're at the elite level and you're considered one of the top players in the league, you're more than likely spending more than $1 million per year on your body. But you have players who also spent millions of dollars per year on their body and they're suffering injuries. They're getting tired. They got to put ice packs on their knees. Kobe literally looked like the Michelin Man in the latter stages of his career. Even Russell Westbrook, who is much younger than LeBron James, ices his knees. See, no, Jaylen Brown, your instincts aren't telling you wrong. Something has to be up. If something telling you that something is wrong or something is off, 9 times out of 10, it's off. No, LeBron James is not eating the La Rice Krispie treats. No, LeBron James is not eating La Oreos. No, LeBron James is not eating La Doritos or eating La Starburst or La Snickers. LeBron James is taking La steroids, allegedly. Those are the type of treats that he's taking. See, there's this weight loss medicine that they have called Ozempic that you can inject yourself with and it'll help you lose weight. See, it's the opposite for LeBron James. They have this secret medicine out for LeBron James called La Ozempic, in which LeBron James injects himself with a needle and it helps you gain muscle, allegedly, just like Ozempic. 1 + 1 does not equal 85. It equals 2. Common sense tells you when you have a man 40 years old who's been in the NBA over 22 years, still playing at the pace of a Ja Morant, playing at the pace of a Luka Doncic, playing at the pace of a Giannis Antetokounmpo, playing at the pace of a Nikola Jokic, playing at the pace of a Jason Tatum, playing at the pace of a Jaylen Brown. Something is off. It's not making sense. The math just isn't mathing. 1 + 12 doesn't equal 89. I just pray at some point that President Donald Trump stop putting tariffs on other countries and just put tariffs on LeBron James's contract. Force LeBron James to pay $50 million extra dollars every year that he continues to stay in the NBA. And I guarantee you that LeBron James will retire at some point. See, LeBron James, his career, something stinks about his career. Something is fishy. Everybody is starting to smell the sour underwear when it comes to LeBron James. It just doesn't smell right. All the great players in NBA history, at some point of their career, their bodies broke down on them. At some point, they started to lose their athleticism. See, Michael Jordan and Kobe, although they lost their athleticism, they still had skills. They perfected their craft to a point where they didn't have to exert as much energy. They knew how to get to their spots. They knew how to rest at certain points on offense and defense. See, LeBron James is still playing at a very high speed, very fast pace at the age 40, which is highly suspicious. Once again, not only did LeBron James play a lot of minutes in the regular season, he played a lot of minutes in the postseason. And you mean to tell me that this player is still able to play as an old man? He was playing as a kid, but now playing as an old man. He's the real life Uncle Drew, Uncle LeDrew James. I've said countless of times in all of my previous videos that the only reason that LeBron James was staying around, that the only reason that LeBron James wanted to play with his son, LeBron James Jr., is simply because he needed a reason to prolong his career. And he's going to continue to move the goalposts once the conversation is being had. Will the Lakers draft Bryce James? And then LeBron James is going to start to change the conversation to, I've already played with one of my sons, now I would like to play with both of my sons. Instead of people raising the question, hey, LeBron James, are you really playing for the love of the sport? You've already won enough championships. What else are you playing for? Are you playing for the love? Because you've gotten all the love. What more do you want? You have all the numbers. You broke the scoring record. You have the most points in NBA history. You've done what no other player has done in RBA history, was coming back from being down 3-1. That to you, in your own words, made you the greatest. So what else are you playing for? You've already played with your son. Now you want to play with both of your sons? As I said before, it's using that as a reason to distract people from him potentially being on steroids. So more people can talk about LeBron James just wants to play with his son. What's wrong with a man wanting to play with his sons? Instead of raising the question, could this man potentially be on steroids? And how is it that he's continued to play at this level at that age? I'm pretty sure that Jaylen Brown and many other players in the RBA are having this conversation, and there are rumors around that LeBron James can potentially be on performance enhancement drugs, allegedly.